Let us stay with sport now. The Canadian province of Alberta has cancelled its bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games, blaming rising costs last month.
Australia pulled out of hosting the 2026 Games in Victoria. Our reporter Nikki Schiller told us more about the reasons why. Yeah, so the Commonwealth Games, Marion, they've been going every 4 years since the 1930s. And they include the triathlon, diving and gymnastics, and indeed wheelchair athletics as well. And the only time they were cancelled was during the second, and it is because of the cost. Now the ministers there say that it has risen to this amount, 2.7 billion Canadian dollars. And the sports and tourism minister said that was too high for the province to bear. Now in a statement he said it was partly down to the amount of revenue they can get from broadcasting rights and the sponsorship model, and it meant 93% of the cost, they said, and the risks were put on the taxpayer. So Maryam, at the moment, there's no city bidding to host the 2030 Games. And what about 2026, Nikki? Problems there too? Yeah, absolutely. You may remember last month, Victoria in Australia pulled out of bidding for the 2026 Games again because of the spiraling costs. They had won the rights to host it, but said that the cost had spiraled to 6 billion Australian dollars, and that was too much. It is also worth remembering that the Games last year were only hosted in Birmingham after the South African city of Durban was stripped of the rights to host it again because they failed to meet financial deadlines. And Nikki, these gains, they mean a lot to athletes, don't they? Yeah, they do, marry him, and the reason for that is both athletes and para-athletes compete at the same games at the same time. Now this is Australian Emma McKeon. She is the most successful for Commonwealth athletes ever. She has won 20 medals, and here in the UK a lot of athletes like competing because they compete for their home nations, England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, rather than Team GB. And last month we spoke to Baroness Tawny Gray-Thompson after Victoria pulled out, and here is what she said about how important the Games are to athletes. I think it's important that we don't lose the Commonwealth Games as an event, because as well for a lot of the smaller countries in the Commonwealth Games, this is their chance to shine on a world stage, which they might not get as well as the Olympics and Paralympics. So Nikki, does this put the Games in doubt? Well, it is a very good question, Maryam. Now the Commonwealth Games Federation issued a very brief statement after Alberta pulled out, where they said the dialogue with other potential hosts is ongoing. Now there were reports last month that Gujarat and India might want to host it, but that has since been denied. They say they want to